Got it. I can do that. Right. All the way through to Romemu. And that should be all we need. We good, Dan? Can you play a little bit of Kimitzion, please? Yeah. Kimitzion tetzei Torah. Kimitzion tetzei Torah. Udevar Adonai miYerushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael bikdushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Lecha Adonai. Okay, I think we're good. It's crossed out on mine. Do we usually do it? Gadol Adonai iti. Oh. No, I can. Now I know. I do that, and when he says, "Please rise," I God lul Adonai iti uneramima mashmoch yachdav lecha Adonai hagedula vehagevura vehatiferet vehanetzach vehahod kichom b'shamayim. Okay, I think we're good. And then, Ram Shabbat Shalom. How are you? It's good to see you again. I do know you. Okay, then I think everything else we've done, right? Vezot HaTorah, yeah. Asher Sam Moshe Lifnei Bnei Israel Al Pi Adonai Beyad Moshe Etz Chaim Hi. Where are you? Vezot HaTorah Pi Adonai. I'll just follow you, or I won't. Okay. No, not no. Okay. Moshe et Chaim Hi. Got it. We got this, man. And if we don't, oh well. Aleinu, we know. The only one that's going to be new is Maya Fe Hayom. So do you want to play that real quickly? Maya Fe Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Fe Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. I was singing a little bit softer. Oh, okay. Yeah, don't worry. No one has ever told me I'm too quiet, Dan. I got this. Are you guys leading with me?
Well, I was going to see a chord song.
Can you sit there, because you can't be up and down and up and down. So you can sit there with the siddur the whole time and be quiet, or you can sit with Daddy. But there's no.
I'll sit over here.
Okay, so get a siddur.
I need to sing.
Behave. That's all I want them to do. But thank you. I think it was dead, so we will share for that. I think it does.
No one out to the ark. Do you want to do the ark?
Oh, do you have anybody to open the ark? No. Ezra and Noah and Talia would love to open the ark. Shh. Yeah, you guys are opening now. You guys are sitting here? No. You can't. You can only have a siddur. So why don't you go sit down?
So I have a special. I got a book about like a very important, famous Jewish man, and
Charlie Chaplin.
no, he's changed a lot of people's lives, and everyone.
Einstein.
He's not like a bad guy, but people have read
Sit. Okay. Yes, or I'll turn it off, but no big deal. We weren't going to do Hatikva today. Would you like us to? Yeah? Let me ask Rabbi. If he's okay with it, we'll do it. Dan, do you have Hatikva in your repertoire? I'm sure you do, right? Vakasha, let me ask him. But I can do Hatikva. Let me just make sure that Rabbi's.
You know the words by heart?
I do, and I think it's also in the Siddur. 78. I know, I found it. We'll just follow you. Let's try it. We'll see. Everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
I want to welcome all of you who are here in person and those of you who are watching on live stream. In case you don't know, I'm Rabbi Stephen Carroll, one of two rabbis emeritus here at Isaiah, the other being my predecessor, Adam Fisher. I'm filling in tonight for our Rabbi Paul Sidlovsky, who is out of town this weekend. I am pleased to be joined by Sarah Pugh, one of our congregants, who's going to be leading the singing for us, and Dan Fogel, our accompanist. Our opening song is Boi Kala.
Boi kala, boi kala, boi kala, boi kala. Boi kala, boi kala, boi kala, boi kala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi kala, boi kala, boi kala, boi kala. Boi kala, boi kala, boi kala, boi kala. Boi kala.
We're going to turn now to pages 121 and 120 for our candle lighting, which will be done this evening by Donna Carroll.
I don't know where to put my book.
Here, I'll hold your book.
I got it. Do one-handed here.
Donna, do you want to sing it?
You want me to sing it?
No, it's your choice. Just offering.
You want to sing it? Or do you want me to say it?
You can say it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlikner shel Shabbat.
Good Shabbos.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Now you can sing it.
Page 124. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Together, now we, in our turn, come to this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. Page 132. Sing to Adonai a new song. Sing to Adonai, all the earth. Sing to Adonai. Bless God's name. Proclaim God's victory day after day. Tell of God's glory among the nations, God's wondrous deeds among all peoples. For Adonai is great and much acclaimed. God is held in awe by all divine beings. All the gods of the peoples are mere idols, but Adonai made the heavens. Glory and majesty are before God. Strength and splendor are in God's temple. Together, let the heavens rejoice and the earth resound. All their at the presence of Adonai, for God is coming, for God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples in faithfulness. We're going to continue now on page 138 with the Chadodi, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And you are invited both here and at home for the last verse to turn around and stand up, turn around and face the entrance for the greeting of the Shabbat bride. L'chadodi.
La 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 l'chadodi. La 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 likrat kala. La 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 penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor vezachor bedibur echad. Hishmianu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad ushmo echad. L'shemu tiferet velitila. שמחה ובצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי שבת נקבלם.
Page 145. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. Katsika.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכו בית ישראל, בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירם בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
Turn to page 146 for the Baruch.
Lai la lai 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 la lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
Page 150. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We continue with the Shema, pages 152 and 153.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated and turn to page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We turn to the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 158, Mi Chamocha. There are some prayers that have certain meaning to us at different points in our lives. Sometimes one in particular resonates with us. The next one, which Sarah's going to lead the singing of, 160, Hashkivenu, is one of those prayers for me. The older I get, the more it means to me, the more it resonates with me, especially talking about lying down and then rising up in peace. I like the lying down, but I also like the rising up in peace. Let's join together with Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom, vehamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we may wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
We're going to turn now to page 162 at the top for the singing of Vishamru.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beni uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. Continue with the tefillah, beginning on page 164. Please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim ve'Koneh Hakol ve'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot u'Mevii Geula libnei b'neihem למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהלוך הסלע ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated and turn to page 173. And we read together at the top of the page. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 175. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha b'yira na'avod. Page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lahodot. Shalom Rav is on page 178.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon tasim leolam. Shalom Rab el Israel amcha, tasim leolam, tasim leolam, tasim leolam.
We pause now for a few moments of silent prayer and meditation.
Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We're going to continue now on page 364 with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the Torah service. And opening and closing the ark for us will be Sherry Countess. Jay Schoenfeld will be carrying the scroll, and Barbara Meyer will remove the cover and the ornaments. Please rise.
Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udvar Adonai mirushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch shenatan Torah.
Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho.
Got it, thank you.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho. Please be seated. If you would like to follow along with tonight's reading, in the Torah commentary book, it's on page 566. It's the beginning of Mishpatim, and we're going to hear the chanting of verses 1 through 6. Mishpatim is the parasha right after Yitro. Yitro is Jethro, Moses' father-in-law. But probably the most distinctive thing about Yitro is that it pretty much ends with the Ten Commandments. And you would think the Ten Commandments are so big they can't be topped or added on to. If you think that, you would be wrong, because Mishpatim begins, continues, and ends with many, many mitzvot. They're called rules. But they become counted in the mitzvot. So you're going to hear the beginning of it, and then I'm going to talk about the rest of it a little bit later. So tonight, our Torah reader is observing her 29th bat mitzvah anniversary. I got the number right, didn't I? Yes? I got the number right. So, Ta'amod l'kriyat HaTorah, Chana bat Shimon, Carol, and Gordon. Tamod li Birchot HaTorah, Shoshana bat Chava, Susan Goldhaber will chant the blessings. Oh, is it? Okay. This just came in. It's also Susan's 29th bat mitzvah anniversary. Mazel tov to both of you. All right, so I'm going to hand this to you. And I'm going to get out of the way so you can just step up here. We'll move the microphone to where it needs to be. Okay. Yeah. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Ha'elu ha'mishpatim, asher tasim lifneihem, ki tikne v'dibri. Sheishanim Ya'avot Uvashvi'i Yesei Lachashi Hinam In Begapo Yavo Begapo Yeser Ser Ze Eve I can't hear.
Baal.
No. Isha Huvasi Ishto Imo Im Adonai Yiten Lo Isha V'Yavzo Lo Vanim O Vanot Ha'isha V'Ladecha Tihyeh La'adonecha V'hu Yetze V'Gapo V'Imamor Yom Ha'eved Ahavti Et Adoni Et Ishti Ve'et Benai Lo Etze Hafshi Ve'higisho Adonai El Ha-Elohim Ve'higisho El Hadeleh Oh, El HaMezuzah, Ve'rasa Adonai, Edos no Bar Maseya, Ve'avado Le'olam.
Baruch hu atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Thanks for the help.
Mazel tov, Susan. Yamod Hagba, Charles Miller will lift the scroll. Yamod Galila, Alan Braun will dress the scroll. Please rise.
Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael api Adonai beyad Moshe. Etz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tomcheha ve'ushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha
that side.
shalom ashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh yameinu
Please be seated.
Chadesh yameinu kekedem.
Please be seated. For the Misha Berach, we can turn to page 371, and I'm going to read from our list and then offer you the opportunity, those of you who are here, and of course those of you at home can mention the name of someone for whom you are praying for healing. Rick Davis, Kiana Weaver, Maddie Alter, John Frasca, Diane Kojaliski, Janet Kolajiski, Mary Jo Ray, Jill Sloan Marcotte, Ray Para, Ira Berezowski, Aaron Berezowski, Jim Walker, Christine McSherry Strovnik, Leah Henry, Daniela Stile, Sarah Shakora, Anthony Casino, Jim and Rosie Windsor, Teresa D. Benedetto, Lisa Taub, Candy Joss, Bill Shapiro, Marcy Larkin Friedman, Chaya Zusa Bat Shlomo Variva Mendel, Margaret Schoenfeld, Norma Michael, Eleanor Doria Chava Evelyn, Joan Taylor, Michael Boonin, Hazel Cardillo, Mason Portnoy, Susan Sadens, Nancy Blake, Ellie Walsh, Judy Lesser, Lazar Lieberman, Alan Spector, Barbara Fine, Lindsay Hartman, and Lucas Hartman. We also pray for healing for the servicemen and servicewomen who have been wounded or injured on behalf of our country. As we're accustomed to doing, I'm going to put my hand out, and as I do that, you're welcome to mention anyone. Steve. Let's join together now, page 371, the singing of the Misha Berach. There's a saying in our tradition, it's really short. Be happy it's Adar. Why? Because Adar is the month in which Purim occurs. And before we know it, it's going to be Purim time. So in recognition of that, we're going to do the Rosh Chodesh prayer, the blessing, which is on page 379. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu shetechadesh aleinu et hachodesh haba l'tova v'livracha v'titen lanu chayim arukim chayim shel shalom chayim shel parnasah chayim shetehevanu ahavat Torah v'yirat shamayim chayim sheyimal'u mishalot libenu l'tova. Amen. Together. Our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace, prosperity, a life exalted by love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our hearts are fulfilled for good. Rosh Chodesh Adar Yihya B'Yom Revi'i. The new month of Adar will begin on Tuesday evening. So sometimes when some of us do services, we go on autopilot, and that's exactly what I did for this part of the service. So it says one thing on the sheet, which I didn't do. I did it the way We used to do it with the order of the prayers. Can you do Eitz Chaim again?
Sure. I can do
Wonderful, wonderful.
Take two.
It was my mistake. That was an old way of doing, an old placement for it. So we're going to continue on page 374 and opening the ark and closing it. How many of the children are awake? Okay.
Okay.
Representing the Pugh family children, please rise.
Wait, I thought we were just doing Eitz Chaim. Yeah. Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tomcheha meushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh yameinu Chadesh yameinu kekedem.
Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. No. Rules, someone once said, it's probably been said more than once, are made to be broken. As far as I know, history doesn't record who the first someone was that said that and why they said what they did. Whoever it was, I'm going to guess that they weren't among the ones who made the rules. More likely, they were among those for whom the rules were made. And they must have been pretty fed up with them. Whether or not they followed through and broke the rules that they felt were so oppressive is another story. Of course, the sentiment expressed in that statement is one which all of us may be able to identify with at one time or another in our lives. And we may simply kvetch about the oppressiveness of a law, or we may actively protest against an unjust law or court ruling. A good example of the latter is the numerous protests that arose after the Supreme Court's decision to regard Roe versus Wade as a precedent that can be overturned. The accepted view is that by their very nature, rules are both prescriptive and proscriptive. They tell us what we can and cannot do. Very often, the rule makers and the rule enforcers are portrayed as the bad guys in our lives. Whether it's the federal, state, or local government, the police, parents, or teachers. Yet the fact is that a nation, a society, a synagogue, or a family couldn't function properly without rules. The problem arises when a dictator changes laws to benefit himself or herself, when a leader establishes rules based on political revenge, and when someone in charge picks on or bullies a person or group that they just don't like. It's important to mention these thoughts about rules tonight because of the portion of the Torah from which Carol Ann chanted, Mishpatim, which means rules or ordinances. From chapter 21, verse 1 of Exodus, through chapter 23, verse 27, the portion consists almost entirely of what the children of Israel could and couldn't do, should and shouldn't do, now that they are a free people. There are many, many rules in this portion, and there are many, many reasons for them. In a few minutes, you'll understand what I mean about the reasons. First of all, I think it's necessary to clear up a misconception about Judaism and its rules. On many occasions in the past, Judaism, as it is represented in what Christians call the Old Testament, and especially the Torah, Judaism has been characterized as a religion of law, not love. The implication is that the Hebrew Bible, what we call the Tanakh, consists of a lot of legal mumbo-jumbo, which is so technical, outdated, and picky that it is irrelevant to the modern human condition and modern societies. That's quite a sweeping generalization to make. Granted, there are verses and sections in the Torah that are legalistic in nature and anachronistic in the context of life in 20th century America and 21st century America. But certainly not all of the Torah is like that, and neither is most of the rest of the Hebrew Bible. On the contrary, law and love for Judaism in general, and the Torah in particular, are not mutually exclusive. Judaism has always viewed God's giving of the Torah to Moses on Mount Sinai as an expression of divine love for the Jewish people. It was because of love that God liberated our ancestors from Egypt. And it was also because of love that God gave them rules to help them cope with their newfound freedom. It's worth noting that the word Torah means instruction or teaching. Rather than being characterized as an obstacle or a bother, it is referred to in our tradition as a source of light, which can show us the way to live our lives, or as a tree of life to all who grasp it. When we hear in the Eitz Chaim, its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace, we can think that maybe the rules are there for our own good and benefit. The rules of the Torah not only regulate life, but also enhance it. And in many instances, they reflect tremendous compassion, justice, and love. So what are some of those instances, and what is their ultimate importance? 3 chapters of this Torah portion, about 75%, deal with rules to live by. The verses that Carol Ann chanted reveal a great concern for justice and compassion for the servants of our people. Our ancestors at the time of the Exodus didn't reject the institution of slavery or lobby for its abolition, but they had rules concerning how to treat a servant and his family. For some people, being a servant was a way to pay off a debt. In fact, one of the lines that Carol Ann chanted, the word love appears in it, describing a relationship between a slave and that slave's owner. The word love rarely appears in the Torah. The fact that it appears here is significant. There are verses about how to treat parents, and the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth verse is in this portion. The traditional Jewish view about abortion is in this portion, based in a verse here, and it reflects concern for the health of the mother. Treatment of oxen, sheep, and donkeys is prescribed. Being empathetic really shows through when the people are told, "You shall not wrong a stranger or oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You shall not ill-treat any widow or orphan. If you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, do not act toward them as a creditor. Exact no interest from them. You must not carry false rumors. You shall not join hands with the guilty to act as a malicious witness. You shall neither side with the mighty to do wrong, nor shall you show deference to a poor man in his dispute. Let the needy of your people eat. Passover, Shavuot, and Sukkot are mentioned as community celebrations. And then, near the end of the portion, the next thing that happens could be in a movie. God invites Moses and Aaron, Aaron's sons Nadab and Abihu, and the 70 elders of the people to come up to the mountain towards God, who is at the top. Although only Moses is allowed to ascend all the way, this is quite an invitation for a God who said, I cannot be seen, and if you see me, you will die. 3 amazing things happen. First, Moses went and repeated to the people all the commands of the Lord and all the rules. My question is, how did he remember all of them? Second, and all the people answered with one voice, saying, all the things that the Lord has commanded, we will do. Really? All the people? Everyone agreed to do exactly what God commanded them? Wouldn't that be great in a community? Wouldn't it be great in a temple? Third, Moses then wrote down all the commands of the Lord. Again, how did he remember all of them? By the way, when we do Hagbah, the lifting of the Torah, we sing V'zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe Lifnei B'nei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai B'yad Moshe, which means, as some of you know, and this is the Torah which Moses put before the children of Israel from the mouth of God, B'yad Moshe, and through the hand of Moses. That last phrase can be traced to this Torah portion. Remember that the next time you do V'zot HaTorah. So can one aspect of kashrut. You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. That became the basis for not mixing meat and dairy products. But these words are the most fascinating to me. Then Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 elders of Israel ascended, and they saw the God of Israel. Under his feet there was the likeness of a pavement of sapphire, like the very sky for purity. Yet God did not raise his hand against the leaders of the Israelites. They beheld God, and they ate and drank. So the text tells us that, contrary to precedent, these men actually see God, which, as I mentioned before, was forbidden. God doesn't punish them. They beheld God, and then they ate and drank. In other words, they had a religious experience and followed it with eating and drinking. You could say that this is the basis for Oneg Shabbat, but I think that would be a little bit of a stretch, even with the similarities that are apparent. God tells Moses that he will be given the stone tablets, which are inscribed by God with the teachings and commandments to instruct them. The ultimate importance of these laws and rules is that they were commanded by God through Moses as part of the covenant God made with the people. Simply put, a covenant is an agreement between two parties. The original covenant had been between God and Abraham, with an emphasis on circumcision in exchange for a multitude of descendants if the people observe the laws and perform the mitzvot. But with a new era starting with the Exodus, the covenant had to be renewed. And with more than 600,000 people involved, it had to be very explicit. Traditional Judaism counted 613 commandments to be observed by the generation of the Exodus and their descendants. Those later generations sought to observe them and to understand them through constant study and teaching. As a result, there are hundreds of volumes of Jewish legal codes that explain and update the ancient biblical laws. Modern scholars have developed different theories on how these rules were conveyed. While Orthodox Jews still believe that the entire Torah was revealed to Moses on Mount Sinai, many conservative and Reform Jews believe that the rules of life were revealed progressively over numerous generations instead of one. But no matter what theory we adhere to, we can agree that the rules were inspired by a belief in God and that Moses was a great teacher and leader. We also can agree that if the people had gone immediately from slavery and its total lack of freedom to anarchy and its total lack of rules, no one would have made it to the promised land. And finally, we can agree that there is a need to learn about the rules and laws and commandments, to evaluate them, and to incorporate a certain degree of guidance and discipline into our own lives. Rules are not made to be broken unless there is no apparent reason for them or unless they have no real purpose. And rules are made to be broken if they enhance the power of a demagogic dictator who cares more about power than about the people. Rules that are given with love, as I feel these rules were, rules that embody empathy and compassion and justice, are made to work for us. They can bring order to our lives, a sense of purpose, a foundation for the quality of life itself. And they can help us, with our admittedly human limitations, to come closer to feeling the presence of God, seeing the sapphire that can be for us as a community and as individuals. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to continue now with the Aleinu on page 586, and going to ask Ethan Pugh to come up to, either by yourself or with company, to open and close the ark. Please rise. Please be seated. Thank you, guys. Page 593. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled. It burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. Page 597. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This Shabbat, we observe the yahrzeits of Bernard Frisch, grandfather of Andrea Barbakoff, John Milton Hiller, Irving Howard, father of Bruce Howard, Alvin L. Newman, father of Lloyd Newman, Jean Rosenbaum Brunner, mother of Barbara Zaret, Minnie Wexler, Herbert Silberman, Theodore Siskind, father of Marion Leibowitz, Don Tylutke, cousin of Paula Balaban, Benjamin Weishad, Jacob Simont, Alan Hollander, father of Gerald Hollander, Bernice Katz, mother-in-law of Bonnie Katz, Sheila Marin, mother of Marissa Coman, Anne Sylvia Miller, Jack Willis, uncle of Honey Katz. We also recall the 6 million Jewish men, women, and children who perished during the Holocaust. If you have any additional names for Shloshim or Yortzeit, I'm going to give you the opportunity to mention them now. Zichronam livracha, may their memory be for blessing. We turn now to page 598. Please rise for the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye chon u'v'yomei chon, u'v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal shemei dekutsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. I want to thank Sarah and Dan for teaming up with me for this service tonight. Really appreciate it. And we have some announcements coming, possibly. We do, and Lloyd is going to come up and do that.
Thank you all for coming tonight so that we can pray together as a community. It is wonderful to hear everyone this evening and to see everyone this evening. Thank you to Rabbi Carol and Sarah Pugh for leading our service, and Dan too. Please put the rhythm instruments in the basket at the back of the sanctuary on your way out to the Oneg in the social hall. If you have any questions or comments or would like to know more about Temple Isaiah, please see me after the service. Our next service is being held Friday, February 24 at 7:30 p.m. If you'd like to share news with the congregation, please fill out the Shabbat Simcha form in the lobby. We have some upcoming events. Rabbi Paul's Torah study is Saturday mornings at 11:30 on Zoom. Everyone is welcome. At 9:30 a.m. Sisterhood Hamantash and Baking is Sunday, February 26th, from 9:30 to 11:30 in the morning in the kitchen. The Purim Carnival is Sunday, March 5th. Purim Pizza, Megillah reading, and Spiel is Friday, March 10 at 6:15 p.m. Please RSVP. Please stay well, stay healthy, and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Lloyd, and thanks to Barbara for ushering tonight. So we're going to go to our final song now, right, which is Hatikva. And, oh, we already got some approval of that from out there. And what page? I knew you were going to ask me that.
678.
678, very efficient. All right. So because we're singing Hatikva, I'm going to ask you to please rise and remain standing for the benediction. Adonai oz l'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. We ask that we may enter this Shabbat in peace, with wholeness and love, and that it may be a day of complete rest. Amen. Shabbat shalom. You can be seated.
יום השישי ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikra יציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים.
לחיים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ בתיאבון.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.